Delete. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Who is the enemy of the black person? That has always been the question of the African. We don't know who our true enemy is, the reason to which we are not progressing in life. So we continue to be pointing fingers at things that are not the true reason to which we are backwards. We need to understand that certain things are in place that the African isn't aware of. But no matter how much we try to bring the awareness, we still find means and ways to defend things because we don't know what is actually keeping us in that situation. According to Julian, the number one enemy of us is ignorance. That we are ignorant of what is happening around us in the world and even in our own respective countries, because the organizations that we so much trust and believe in are misleading us, giving us false information, turning truth into false, and distorting information. These organizations we believe in, with that understanding, the games they are playing on us is something we need to check. And according to him, nobody wants to go to war. So in order for them to get us to fight among ourselves, they need to feed us with wrong information that will trigger something in us for us to find any reason to fight among ourselves. So the media could have saved all the wars that we are seeing happening in the past and in this present, because they have the right information to stop, yet they decided to please the powers and organizations that they work for.
And finally, Julian, who do you consider to be your number one enemy?
Well, our number one enemy is ignorance. And I believe that is the number one enemy of everyone, is not understanding what is actually going on in the world. It's only when you start to understand that you can make effective decisions and effective plans. Now, the question is, who is promoting ignorance? Well, those organizations that try to keep things secret, and those organizations which distort true information to make it false or misrepresentative. In this latter category, it is bad media. It really is my opinion that the media in general are so bad, we would have to question whether the world wouldn't be better off without them altogether. There's some very, very fine journalists, and we work with many of them, and some fine media organizations, but the vast majority are awful and are so distortive to how the world actually is, that the result is we see wars and we see corrupt governments continue on. One of the hopeful things that I've discovered is that nearly every war that has started in the past 50 years has been a result of media lies. The media could have stopped it if they had searched deep enough. If they hadn't reprinted government propaganda, they could have stopped it. But what does that mean? Well, that means basically populations don't like wars, and populations have to be fooled into wars. Populations don't willingly and with open eyes go into a war. So if we have a good media environment, then we'll also have a peaceful environment.
The greatest enemy of man is not sin. The greatest enemy of man is not Satan. The greatest enemy of man is ignorance. Ignorance is the cause of all destruction. Ignorance is the major enemy of man. God says, my people perish, or they are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. And because they have rejected knowledge, I must also reject them, and they cannot represent me. And then he goes one step further. He says, and I must also reject their children.
Julian Assange, 5 years in Belmarsh High Security Prison in London. For what? for telling the truth about US and NATO war crimes. And what are we doing about saving him? Meanwhile, most of our mainstream media in Europe have been bought by US empire. So most of our journalists are actually being paid not to speak the truth. They've been bought. Our media in Europe is in serious trouble. Independent media is almost non-existent today.
This is what Africans we haven't realized. And that was why they were able to succeed in taking out the good leaders in Africa. They took Muammar Gaddafi and the rest because of the misinformation we were given by the media. This is a powerful tool that they always use to divide us, so we can continue to be fighting among ourselves, even though, according to him, we have some good ones, but they are very few. And these ones, their voices are not loud. When they wanted to target Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, it was the same media they used. This has always been the game. When they wanted to target Captain Ibrahim Traoré and co., they started by telling us they were dictators, they were this, they were that. Hadn't been social media that we have been able to see the pattern would have fallen. And today, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso leaders would have been a thing of the past. So we need to educate ourselves with the right information and rise up from ignorance. They are using what you believe in so much to fight you. If not, who would want to fight with a brother? And that is why they've succeeded in getting Africans that are somewhere causing destabilization, fighting against our true freedom. Yet these are the same people that are crying of hunger, saying things are not well. They want a better life. The better life you want, you have had leaders that are rising to fight for that better future. And you are the same person, because of the wrong information you are giving, rising to fight against the ones that are doing everything possible to set you free. So we need to know that ignorance, like they say, is not an excuse. So you have to educate yourself, because this is information era. The African need to be open-minded. And one thing that is keeping us in this is because of religion. Because we have leaders in these religions that we love them in politics. So we need to understand that before we can be free as Africans, anything that was given to us by our oppressors must be given back to them, because we have accepted things without knowing what they actually are meant for. You are the only one that can emancipate yourself. You can be a freedom fighter, a Pan-Africanist, and still love and cherish so much of these people. Then if you are doing that, you are not ready for your own true freedom. But the African don't understand things this way. So that's the latest around the world and in Europe.